Have you ever stood at a crossroads in your life and felt completely paralyzed? Not because you didn't know which way to go, but because every direction felt equally terrifying and equally promising at the same time. You stand there, frozen, while your heart is pounding in your chest, and you realize something strange. The choice you're about to make isn't really about the road ahead. It's about who you are right now, who you've always been, and who you're afraid to become. There's this moment that happens to all of us, a moment when we're forced to choose, and in that split second before we decide, our entire identity hangs in the balance. Because here's what most people don't understand. The choices we make don't just shape our future, they reveal our past. They expose the hidden parts of ourselves we've been running from, the parts we've buried so deep we forgot they were even there. Today, we're going to do something different, something that might make you uncomfortable. We're going to put you in front of 5 doors, but these aren't ordinary doors. Each one leads to a completely different version of your life, a different truth about who you are. And the door you choose will tell you something about yourself that you've been avoiding for a very long time. But I need to warn you about something first. Once you walk through that door, once you see what's on the other side, there's no going back. You can't unknow what you're about to discover. So I'm asking you now before we begin. Are you ready to face the truth, the real truth about who you are when nobody's watching? Now, here's the thing. For us to keep creating these deep, transformative experiences for you, for these revelations to keep finding their way into your life, we need something simple from you, your engagement, a like that says, yes, this matters. A subscription that says, keep going, I'm listening. That's the exchange. Your attention for our commitment to going deeper. Fair enough? I think so. Good. Then let's step up to the first door. Imagine you're standing in a long, dimly lit hallway. The air is thick, heavy. You can feel your own heartbeat in your throat. In front of you are 5 doors. Each one is different. Each one is calling to you in its own way. Your job isn't to think about which one makes logical sense. Your job is to feel. Which door is pulling you toward it? Which one makes your stomach tighten? Which one makes you want to run away and move closer at the same time? Ready? Let's meet the first door.
Picture this. A massive iron door, thick, solid, the kind of door that would take an army to break down. It's covered in locks, chains, bolts, every possible security measure you can imagine. When you look at this door, you feel something immediately. Safety, protection, the promise that nothing bad can get through, that if you choose this door, you'll finally be safe from all the chaos outside. If this door is calling to you right now, your soul is trying to tell you something critical. You're exhausted. You've been fighting for so long, protecting yourself, building walls, and you're tired of being on guard all the time. You want to rest. You want to feel secure. You want to finally let your shoulders drop and breathe without constantly looking over your shoulder. But here's what you need to understand. This door represents more than just safety. It represents control, the illusion that if you just lock enough locks, if you just build the walls high enough, if you just protect yourself thoroughly enough, nothing will ever hurt you again. And that's both your greatest strength and your deepest trap. The person who chooses this door has usually been hurt before, betrayed, abandoned, disappointed, and they made a decision somewhere along the way. Never again. I will never be that vulnerable again. I will never give anyone the power to hurt me like that again. So you built this fortress around yourself. And yes, it kept the pain out, but it also kept everything else out too. Love, connection, spontaneity, joy, all the things that make life worth living. Psychologically, this door represents the defense mechanisms of the ego, the armor we wear to survive. But armor is heavy, and the longer you wear it, the more you forget what it feels like to move freely, to breathe deeply, to be fully alive without constantly being on guard. The shadow side of this door is isolation, rigidity, control that turns into prison. You wanted to protect yourself, but somewhere along the way, you became your own jailer. The locks that were supposed to keep danger out are now keeping you in. And one day, you'll realize that the thing you've been most afraid of, the thing you've been protecting yourself from all these years, isn't outside anymore. It's inside with you, locked in, trapped in the same fortress you built. If this is your door, your soul is asking you a question. What would happen if you unlocked just one lock? Just one, not all of them, just one. What would happen if you let yourself be a little less defended, a little more vulnerable, a little more human? But we'll come back to that question later, because there's something else you need to see first. Something about the other doors that might change everything you think you know about yourself. Picture this. A massive iron door, thick, solid, the kind of door that would take an army to break down. It's covered in locks, chains, bolts, every possible security measure you can imagine. When you look at this door, you feel something immediately. Safety, protection, the promise that nothing bad can get through. That if you choose this door, you'll finally be safe from all the chaos outside. If this door is calling to you right now, your soul is trying to tell you something critical. You're exhausted. You've been fighting for so long, protecting yourself, building walls, and you're tired of being on guard all the time. You want to rest. You want to feel secure. You want to finally let your shoulders drop and breathe without constantly looking over your shoulder. But here's what you need to understand. This door represents more than just safety. It represents control, the illusion that if you just lock enough locks, if you just build the walls high enough, if you just protect yourself thoroughly enough, nothing will ever hurt you again. And that's both your greatest strength and your deepest trap. The person who chooses this door has usually been hurt before, betrayed, abandoned, disappointed, and they made a decision somewhere along the way. Never again. I will never be that vulnerable again. I will never give anyone the power to hurt me like that again. So you built this fortress around yourself. And yes, it kept the pain out, but it also kept everything else out too. Love, connection, spontaneity, joy, all the things that make life worth living. Psychologically, this door represents the defense mechanisms of the ego, the armor we wear to survive. But armor is heavy, and the longer you wear it, the more you forget what it feels like to move freely, to breathe deeply, to be fully alive without constantly being on guard. The shadow side of this door is isolation, rigidity, control that turns into prison. You wanted to protect yourself, but somewhere along the way, you became your own jailer. The locks that were supposed to keep danger out are now keeping you in. And one day, you'll realize that the thing you've been most afraid of, the thing you've been protecting yourself from all these years, isn't outside anymore. It's inside with you, locked in, trapped in the same fortress you built. If this is your door, your soul is asking you a question. What would happen if you unlocked just one lock? Just one, not all of them, just one. What would happen if you let yourself be a little less defended, a little more vulnerable, a little more human? But we'll come back to that question later, because there's something else you need to see first. Something about the other doors that might change everything you think you know about yourself.
Now we move to something completely different. A door that's on fire. Flames licking up the sides, smoke curling out from underneath, heat radiating off it in waves. When you look at this door, you don't feel safe. You feel alive, terrified, exhilarated, all at the same time. This door isn't promising you comfort, it's promising you intensity. Raw, unfiltered, dangerous intensity. If this door is calling to you, your soul is screaming something loud and clear. You're dying inside. Not literally, but slowly, quietly. You've been playing it safe for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to actually feel something, to be scared, to be excited, to not know what's going to happen next. And some part of you, some wild, untamed part that you've been trying to suppress, is begging you to choose this door, to walk through the fire, to burn. This door represents transformation through destruction, the phoenix rising from the ashes. But before the rising comes the burning. Before the rebirth comes the death. And that's what this door is really asking you. Are you willing to let your old self die? Are you willing to walk into the flames and trust that whatever comes out on the other side will be worth the pain? The person who chooses this door is usually at a breaking point. They've been living a life that looks good on paper but feels empty inside. The good job, the stable relationship, the predictable routine, all of it feels like a slow suffocation. And this door represents the courage to blow it all up, to choose chaos over comfort, to choose aliveness over safety. But let's talk about the shadow side, because this door has a dangerous one. Destruction for the sake of destruction. Burning bridges not because you're moving forward, but because you're running away. There's a difference between transformation and self-sabotage, between courage and recklessness. And if you're not careful,
If you walk through this door for the wrong reasons, you won't find freedom on the other side. You'll find ashes, and you'll realize too late that some things, once burned, can never be rebuilt. Psychologically, this door represents the death of the false self, the persona you've been wearing to please everyone else, the mask you've been hiding behind. This door says, enough. I'm done pretending. I'm done performing. I'm done being who everyone else needs me to be. I'm ready to be who I actually am, even if it burns everything down in the process. If this is your door, you're standing at the edge of something massive, a complete life overhaul, and you know it. You can feel it. The question is, are you brave enough to jump? Or are you going to spend the rest of your life wondering what would have happened if you had?
This next door is strange. At first, you can barely see it. It's transparent, almost like it's not even there. You have to look carefully, squint your eyes, tilt your head just right to even notice it exists. And when you do see it, when you finally make out its outline, you realize something unsettling. This door doesn't want to be found. It wants to be invisible, just like you. If this door is calling to you, your soul is exhausted from being seen, from being perceived, from being judged. You're tired of performing, of explaining yourself, of justifying your existence to people who will never truly understand you anyway. And this door represents something you've been craving for a long time: the freedom to disappear, to slip away unnoticed, to exist without the weight of everyone else's expectations crushing you. This door represents the introvert's ultimate fantasy, a life where you don't have to be on display, where you can move through the world quietly, observing without being observed, where you can finally be left alone. Not because you hate people, but because being around them costs you something: energy, peace, pieces of yourself that you never get back. The person who chooses this door usually has high sensitivity. You feel everything more intensely than other people do. Sounds are louder, emotions are heavier, social interactions drain you in ways that other people can't comprehend. And you've spent your whole life trying to explain this to people who just tell you to toughen up, to get over it, to stop being so sensitive. So you stopped explaining, and you started looking for exits, for escape routes, for ways to disappear without anyone noticing you're gone. Psychologically, this door represents the desire to return to the unconscious, to dissolve back into the void where there are no demands, no expectations, no pressure to be anything at all. It's the ultimate surrender, not to death, but to invisibility, to non-existence in the eyes of others. But here's the shadow side. Disappearing feels like freedom at first, but eventually it becomes its own kind of prison. Because when you make yourself invisible for long enough, when you hide for long enough, you start to forget that you exist at all. You become a ghost in your own life, present but not really there, breathing but not really living. And one day you'll reach out for connection, for someone to see you, and you'll realize that you've disappeared so thoroughly that even you can't find yourself anymore. If this is your door, your soul is asking you something important. Are you disappearing because you need space to heal? Or are you disappearing because you've given up on being understood? There's a difference, and that difference determines whether this door leads to peace or to erasure. This door is made entirely of mirrors. When you look at it, you see yourself, but not the version you see every morning when you brush your teeth. Not the version you've gotten used to. This reflection is different, sharper, more honest, more brutal. This mirror shows you everything you've been avoiding, every flaw you've been hiding, every truth you've been denying, every part of yourself you pretend doesn't exist. If this door is calling to you, your soul is ready for something most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Radical honesty, complete self-confrontation. No more excuses, no more justifications, no more blaming other people or circumstances for who you've become. This door says, look at yourself, really look, and take responsibility for what you see. This door represents the beginning of real growth, not the surface-level self-improvement stuff, not the affirmations and vision boards. Real growth, the kind that hurts, the kind that requires you to admit that maybe, just maybe, you've been wrong about some things, that you've hurt people, that you've wasted time, that you've been lying to yourself about who you are and what you want. The person who chooses this door is usually at a turning point. They've hit rock bottom, or they're close to it, and they've realized that they can't keep living the way they've been living. Something has to change. But unlike the burning door, which represents external change, this door represents internal change. This is about transforming yourself from the inside out, about facing your shadow, your demons, your darkest truths. Psychologically, this door represents the integration process, the moment when you stop projecting your issues onto other people and start owning them. When you stop being the victim of your story and start being the author. When you stop waiting for someone else to save you and realize that you have to save yourself. But the shadow side of this door is brutal self-judgment. Looking in the mirror and seeing only your failures, your mistakes, your inadequacies. Getting so lost in self-criticism that you forget you're also human, that you're also worthy, that you're also enough, even with all your flaws. There's a fine line between honest self-reflection and self-destruction. And if you're not careful, this door can lead you straight into a spiral of shame that's hard to climb out of. If this is your door, you're about to embark on the hardest journey there is. The journey inward, the journey toward becoming whole, toward accepting all of yourself, not just the parts you like. And I won't lie to you, it's going to hurt. But on the other side of that pain is something most people never find. Freedom. Real, genuine, unshakable freedom.
And now we come to the final door. A door made entirely of light, pure, radiant, almost blinding light. When you look at this door, you can't see what's on the other side. The light is too bright, too intense, but somehow you're not afraid. You feel drawn to it, like a moth to a flame. Like something ancient inside you recognizes this light, has been searching for it your whole life. If this door is calling to you, your soul is telling you something profound. You're ready to be reborn. Not metaphorically, actually reborn. You've done the work. You've faced your shadow. You've burned away what needed to burn. You've confronted yourself in the mirror. And now, finally, you're ready to step into the light, to become who you were always meant to be. This door represents transcendence, the moment when you stop being defined by your past, by your trauma, by your mistakes, by other people's opinions. You step through this door and you become something new, something that can't be categorized or explained, something that just is. The person who chooses this door is usually been through hell and back. They've suffered, they've struggled, they've questioned everything, and they've come out the other side with something most people never find: clarity, purpose, peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from avoiding problems, but the kind that comes from facing them and realizing you survived. Psychologically, this door represents individuation, the process of becoming your true self. Not the self that society wants you to be, not the self that your parents expected, not the self that your trauma created. Your true self, the one that was there all along, waiting patiently for you to remember. But even this door has a shadow side, the danger of spiritual bypassing, of using the light to avoid the darkness, of pretending you've transcended your problems when really you've just gotten better at ignoring them. True enlightenment doesn't mean you never feel pain. It means you've learned to hold the pain without letting it define you. It means you've integrated your shadow, not escaped from it. If this is your door, you're standing at the threshold of something beautiful, something rare, something most people only dream about. But before you walk through, you need to ask yourself one question. Have you really done the work, or are you just tired of doing it?
So there you have it. 5 doors, 5 paths, 5 completely different versions of who you could become. The heavy iron door, promising safety. The burning door, offering transformation through chaos. The invisible door, granting the freedom to disappear. The mirror door, demanding brutal honesty. And the light door, promising rebirth. None of these doors is right or wrong. They're just different. And the door you're drawn to says something profound about where you are right now in your journey, about what you need, about what you're ready for, about what you're still afraid of. Maybe 5 years ago you would have chosen the iron door. Today, you're standing in front of the burning one. Tomorrow, you might find yourself at the light door. And that's not inconsistency. That's growth. That's evolution. That's proof that you're not stuck, that you're moving, even when it doesn't feel like it. So now I want to know, which door called to you? Was it the heavy iron door? The burning door, the invisible door, the mirror door, or the light door? Drop your answer in the comments. Tell me why. Tell me what you felt when you saw it. Tell me what it made you remember or realize about yourself. And while you're down there, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Because your support is what makes this possible. It's what allows us to keep going deeper, to keep asking the hard questions, to keep creating these experiences that challenge you to see yourself more clearly. Here's what I want you to remember. The door you choose today isn't your final destination. It's just the next step, the next chapter, the next version of yourself waiting to be born. You're not locked into anything. You're not trapped. You're just choosing, in this moment, which truth you're ready to face. Because in the end, all 5 doors lead to the same place, back to yourself, back to the truth you've been avoiding, back to the person you were before the world told you who to be. The door is just the way in, but the journey, that's all yours. So thank you for being here. Thank you for having the courage to look at these doors, to consider them, to choose. And remember, whatever door you choose, whatever path you take, you're not walking it alone. We're all here, standing in the same hallway, staring at our own doors, trying to find the courage to turn the handle. The only question left is this: are you going to stand here forever? Or are you finally ready to walk through?